Hello, and I'm under here somewhere. Welcome to episode 79 of Philo. I have called this Ar-Mon-Da, like Akira, because of the panel I drew. The guest that we have today is Rachel Dukes, whom I've known for forever. The co-host that I have today is Robin Fisher, whom I love and appreciate and adore. Let me change the music here, so then that way we're not going to be overrun by the Philo theme. And we are going to jump right into the recap. And let me put that up here. And so we are one panel from finishing this page. And so from the top of this, for the top of this page, we got Ar-Mon. Thank you, Pierre. We got Ar-Mon getting venomized. We got olive oil jumping on him. We have a beat of the dog joining the scene. And then everyone was venom fighting for a while. And then it ends with Ar-Mon plucking the legs off of the olive oil venom head thing, putting her in a pickle jar, Plucker's Pickles to be exact. And then Ar-Mon is Akira with his bone hound. I have no idea where Philo is at this point. He should be Kaneda, I think. You know, we should have Philo
is he still deflated?
Oh, you're sad for olive oil? Oh no, Pierre's sad for olive oil.
I have to admit, for a moment there, I was like, "Oh my God, look at the tears!" And then I remembered that I was the one that was encouraging a violent Ar-Mon. So I'm like, "You can't say anything."
Well, you were the one that said that Ar-Mon should be evil.
Exactly. That's what I said.
And I think that he has been beat up. He has been so nice up to this point. Mm-hmm. That sometimes a redemption arc makes a character more likable.
That's true.
And it's like Willow in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right? I liked her so much better after she was evil. Because
it was interesting.
Well, she had regret and remorse and hubris after that, right? You know,
but I sort of see it like she grew as the show continued, as we grew as an audience.
Yeah. Well, and one of my favorite lines of hers ever was she was trying to warn the young Slayers against like giving into their darker feelings and giving into evil. And she's like, you don't want to go down the road of evil. I've been evil. It's terrible, right? And when the Slayer says, yeah, what does evil taste like? And Willow goes, kind of chalky. Anyway, I don't know. It's one of those stupid Joss Whedon lines, and we're not supposed to support him anymore because he treats people terribly.
Well, they're revamping the whole thing without him. It's like a big whitewash now, so you can watch it again.
So I can watch it again without Joss Whedon. Do you want to take panel 1? Do you want me to take panel 1?
I want you to take panel 1.
Okay, I will take panel 1.
Set precedent for whatever we're doing next.
Okay, I can take panel 1. That's fine. I can do that. So Ar-Mon-Da. We are in we have an Ar-Mon Akira. So what happens next?
Well, I think we should show what Philo's thinking or feeling, because you're right, we haven't seen him in a while, and he is the flagship title character, is he not?
I think he should be Kaneda. Like, do you guys remember what Kaneda was doing with Tetsuo at the end of the book? Or at the end of the movie, I should say. Because the book and the movie are totally different stories, right? Like this is more of a shot from the book, because Akira comes back and he's being worshipped and everything like that. But the movie's more accessible, and I'm kind of seeing Philo like with the gun. you know, like ready to take on.
Not the mutated
friend.
arm?
Well, no. That's Tetsuo.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Kaneda's the hero.
Yeah.
the anti-hero.
The motorcycle dude?
Yeah. So that's kind of what I see. Is I see. Let's see. So, what would the caption be? Would be like, I don't know, kind of the scene.
Well, if it's Philo being Canadian, then we should do like a sort of play on words like we did for Ar-Mon-Da.
Let me see if I can find a good picture.
When you say the gun that you're thinking of, are you thinking like the laser rifle?
Yeah, he has like a laser rifle.
Yeah. Does it seems to look different in the movie than the comic, and do you have a preference?
For some reason my image search isn't working. Weird. What I kind of see is something along the lines of this, if I can get it working.
Oh, it almost was there.
Well, for some reason it doesn't want to work. Okay. Here we go. This is kind of the image I'm seeing.
Okay.
You know? Or there's like this one too, where he's on the bike.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think the motorcycle is a good idea unless Philo is going to go after Armand with the gun. Does that make sense? Rifle. Like, do you want Philo to go after someone with that rifle that he has in his hand? Or is he just pulling up in a motorcycle?
Well, in the movie, Kaneda has to go after his friend because Tetsuo has become too much of a danger. So, do we have him face off against Armand, his love and spouse? No, does he go, Ar-Mon-Da?
No, see, because honestly, Armand was there for Philo in all of his darkest hours.
But so was Tetsuo for Kaneda.
So I don't think, I think that Philo should support Armand. Or at least try to get the Venom symbiote off him so he becomes the Armand we love.
Well, maybe that's what
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob. Maybe that's what the symbiote, or maybe that's what the laser rifle does. It's to remove the symbiote.
Great idea.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what we'll do. Is we'll do Kaneda and Akira with the rifle. All right, and then we'll say that he has to. We'll have that be my caption. That Philo has a laser rifle to remove the venom from Armand. All right, so that would be my caption. So what happens after that for Rachel to draw?
Well, does the symbiote immediately leave Armand's body, or does the symbiote want to stay, or does he want to find somebody new? Are we going to even be privileged to hear the symbiote's thought?
I mean, like, is this panel Philo taking the shot, or like driving up and looking really dramatic with the rifle?
I was thinking that he's trying to take the shot in my panel.
Okay.
And so I'll start drawing that one, and then
So you're either drawing Armand getting shot, or something to the symbiote, or the reactions of the other characters.
Does the laser hit Armand?
That's the question.
Well, I think we wanted to because we want to progress the story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it hits him, like, then maybe you're drawing like the symbiote blasting off Ar-Mon.
And is he still just a circulatory system?
I think he would be.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
he has like
The mushroom.
a wrap of a mushroom around
okay.
him. That, I don't know. You could have him like wearing like a robe or something.
The skin of a mushroom.
Yeah, I found a better image, I think.
He's like an ocean viscose. Instead of furs, ample furs, he's got the mushroom.
Yeah, and I actually did look up the circulatory system of a now, okay, are you drawn?
I will be. I was going to type my caption.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I was getting a proper signal from your screen because I didn't see any art up there yet.
No, just typing.
Okay, good. Yeah, and the mixtape is over the captions, so that's why I didn't see it.
Y'all.
So. No, not your fault. No, not
So
your fault.
I love speaking French, and there's like a lot of French words that I really enjoy. But I can still to this day not really say octopus in French. It is the weirdest, hardest. It's like it's the weirdest word to say, and it has like no association to me with octopus in any way, shape, or form. My favorite ocean creature to say in French is shark, and that is requin. Oh my god, the translator said I said it right.
Ah, yes.
Oh no, so that's because Pierre wrote it out. That's why. Never mind. It's not me. The translator can't hear me. That's right. So yeah, like look how it's spelled. It's spelled pie with a U and a V and an R and an E. Pie evre. But like in French, it's like it's like really hard. Here's the translator. But yeah, shark in French is requin, and I think that's one of the coolest words.
Sharks are just cool animals.
They're pretty neat.
Yeah, sharks.
Their teeth are the weirdest things I've ever seen. Like, I don't think there's any other creature that have teeth like that. They're maybe like, what is the anglerfish's teeth? Are they the same too? I know they're big in some ways, but yeah, it just goes row upon row upon row of teeth. Like, that's really interesting.
Dolphins are like that too.
Are they? I thought they just had the one row.
No, they have multiple rows of teeth.
Yeah, I've never seen a dolphin though, but I've seen a shark though. Should we introduce a shark to the story?
Ooh, shark. Well, how would we introduce one? Like,
I mean, the last one we introduced was Olive Oil, right? That was our last character. She was a reintroduction, so maybe it's time to put some fresh blood.
is she still in the story?
Well, she's in a pickle jar, right? She's in a pickle jar.
Mon Dieu. What? Requin? Is that
No,
how you...
requin.
Requin?
Well, I don't know how Pierre says it. Maybe he's French. I'm speaking French-Canadian. And we say requin.
My French pronunciation is terrible. I do not know the rules of French.
I just know it to hear it. I just know what sounds right and what doesn't sound right. I know it so well that one time I was watching a French program just for fun, and one of the characters had really bad French, and I could tell. Okay, so Pierre is French-Canadian too. We call ourselves Quebecois. But I'm actually not from Quebec. I just only lived there for 8 years.
I welcome all of my worldly Philo fans.
Ben oui. I love it. The translator keeps translating here. It's so excellent. Well, yeah, that's a little awkward. I don't think the French Canadians use A that much.
I'm gonna have.
Maybe they do. Maybe I'm just so immune to it. I don't know. That's probably it. I'm probably absolutely immune to it.
I'm gonna have Philo dressed as Canada.
The weirdest thing about living in French Canada was that it was the first time in my whole entire life, after living in many different countries and cities, where people were asking me what I am. And it was like they wanted to know if I was pure wool French Canadian. And I was like, I'd be like, no, I'm third generation Canadian. And then they'd be like, no, what's your heritage? And I'd be like, I don't know, like English, Irish, Scottish, and German. What's the big deal? Here says he never says A. Oh, I bet you do. You don't think you do, but then all of a sudden it comes out, and you're like, oh shit.
Even I started saying it after living there for a while.
It's just a really great. There's a word for those things, like the F word, right? Like it joins and has a whole bunch of different meanings, but it's like a great user that defines so many things. A filler? Yeah, I guess A. It is, but like it can mean a bunch of different things, which is really cool.
But is another one of those words that's like a filler word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a comfort word to say, to fill in space when your brain is trying to grasp for the right word.
But A is at the end of whatever you're saying. You don't say it first to fill up time. Now you're trying to think of what you want to say. It's at the end.
It emphasizes what you've said, right? So it is a filler word.
I think it's more like, we do have an equivalent for that in California.
Dude.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like dude. Because it could mean many things depending on where and how it's placed.
Exactly. It's not like. Because like doesn't.
Like is like
It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, too. It's just like there. But A can be a question, A can be a statement, A can be a exclamation.
We use the word yeah like that, or I do personally, because I'll be like blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah, A is exactly like that. Or right. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, that's another one.
You know is one that I use all the time that I know is a filler word.
Well, we're allowed to think about what we're trying to say. I've gotten to the point where it's just a big pause now because I'm just like, I'm about to say the wrong thing. I've got to backtrack and say the right thing.
I was taught when I was growing up, learning how to give speeches for class and stuff. Is you should pause instead of saying because it can be misconstrued as effect in a positive way.
Yeah,
if
you want to sound professional. Yeah, exactly. You're taking the time.
Makes you sound smart.
Consequence. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you two go to the same school?
Nope.
No.
Just two different cartoon academies of studies. That's amazing.
Rachel was doing webcomics at the same time I was doing webcomics.
Yeah.
And we met in like forums.
Yeah, LiveJournal, Teamspace, something in there.
Yeah, and I think San Diego Comic-Con.
Probably, yeah, very likely.
Was one, yeah.
But what school did you go to, and what school did Rachel go to? There's like the Savannah Cartoon Studies, School Studies, and then there's the one that's up in Vermont, is it?
Yeah, so that's where I went for graduate school. Was the Center for Cartoon Studies in Vermont.
Okay. And where did you go to school for comics, Amber?
I went to school in Minneapolis to the Minneapolis College of Art and Design.
Oh, art design. Okay. I thought you went to one of those comics in school. Because you guys don't get it. Jason Lutz, I think, is the same age as me, maybe 2 or 3 years older. The fact that you were able to go to class and have him be your teacher just blows my mind. Like, it was never, even reading his comics, it was never like something that I thought could happen. And it seemed like you go to New York and you could get caught by David Mazzucchelli or Peter Cooper, you know, like it's insane to me. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, but I'm a little jealous.
I had Zach Sally as one of my instructors.
Nice. He's really good too. I like his work.
Yeah, he taught me a lot about how books are really put together, because he like prints them by hand on a 1940s old army printer that he salvaged from somewhere. And so when Milano Press, when you find a Milano Press book and you're like, oh, look at this beautifully printed book, and you like open it up and it's like, you know, the folded pages and it looks like it's done in like a factory in China. Each one handmade Zach Sally, right? And it's in a Barnes and Noble, right? How did that man do that?
It's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, but I don't
think it's also a control freak, because how many comic book artists do that, go to that extent to control their printing?
He was a control freak. He would talk about how he was in a lot of bands. You know, he was a rock punk musician as well. Mm-hmm. And so he was in a lot of bands and stuff. And he did a re-release for one of his band's albums called Low. And the band was Low. And I don't remember what the album was called, but there was like this blue color that he wanted to match the box and the book that went in the box, right? He wanted the blue to match. And he had the box printed in China and he had the books printed here in America. And the blue was just a shade off, and it blew. He couldn't wrap his head around it. It just drove him crazy. Right? No one in class noticed.
Vision in mind.
No one in class noticed until he pointed it out.
That's the thing that I always have to keep in mind, is no one else is going to notice. No one sees it like you see it, you know?
Yeah, and you know, like, it's just
and don't you think there's some truth to you're your own worst critic?
That too.
Like, in all things, I mean, like, I write. I'm not saying I'm any good at it, but, like, I get pretty strict about what I'm doing, you know? So, I don't know. Sometimes people deserve grace.
Yeah, I think most of the time.
Yeah,
I agree most of the time.
Like I said, I can't get mad at the guy, because, you know, he's really good at what he does. And he has gotten those books in Barnes and Noble and in other bookstores. But that level of control, I feel like you have to kind of give up some kind of level of control. You know, he loves Chris Ware's stuff because Chris Ware has such control over his printing.
Oh yeah, his fingerprints are all over the whole thing.
Yeah,
Jordan Crane too, the guy who did Jordan Crane. Yeah. His stuff is really, he does almost like all of it, designs everything, prints it.
Yeah, and you know, like, I have this book, but I remember Zach was praising in class once that Chris Ware managed to get a comic on the fold of the cover of the front book, right? And so, like, you have the dust cover and it folds in to the book and then it closes, right? And that little fold that goes over the cardboard section of the book, right, the hardcover itself, there is a comic on that edge. And I own this book. And like, Zach was just like ripping his hair out, going like, how did he plan that? How did he do that? How many prints did he have to try and get the alignment right? And I'm like, to me, that's awesome, but I feel like I don't need to be that precise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like
it's a very cool effect if you want it, you know, and it's worth putting in the effort if you want it. But, you know, at some point, like the effort versus reward, right?
I guess, you know, if I'm ever like super famous, you know, like it's that book that they're like, oh yeah, this book's gonna be, you know, $60 in bookstores and people will pay it.
I mean,
Sure.
it's just fun to do the fun thing, if possible. I mean, especially if it's going to elevate the project, if that's what makes the difference.
Yeah. Did you see the Marie Seindeck exhibit that was going across the country?
I did.
Did you see how he did the boxes for the books?
Yeah.
Right? And how he put together those templates.
Those itty bitty little mock-ups. Like,
yeah.
I love that stuff.
Oh my gosh. Like my brain was blown away. I took pictures of it. And I was looking at those pictures later and seeing how perfect they were. But that's Marie Seindeck. You know, how many people are Marie Seindeck?
I mean, like, I feel like that's also like you've got Alex Longstrath and Pranas, and you've got people in our generation that do stuff like that. Oh, Willow says it's time for dinner. I'm gonna have to do something about that.
Uh-oh. Don't want to deny her.
I actually have her food prepped. I just forgot to give it to her.
Okay. I think I feel like there needs to be some kind of shine on this. Like some kind of sparkle.
So I noticed, Rachel, that you do a lot of webcomics, but you also do a lot of traditional published comics, self-published by other publishers.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, what do you prefer, speaking of control of the artist?
Ask me the same question in a different way.
Good.
I don't know if I really have a preference. I feel like they're kind of the same thing. Like comics.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm not sure that.
I just find, to me, it's two different audiences. I can see the crossover. I'm not saying they're completely separate, but I mean, I don't spend a lot of time with webcomics myself. I have to admit, I spend a lot of my time with tangible comics. I mean, I do read webcomics, but I just don't go out of my way to find them.
I live in a world where one leads to the other, where you do both simultaneously. Like, you can have a book that's coming up for print and, you know, you post it online to, you know, so people can learn about it in advance, or to build hype, or you know, you do a webcomic like Frankie Comics and it gets popular and someone says, hey, do you want to print it? And you say yes. So I feel like the two things are it's a very symbiotic.
How appropriate as we bring in.
Yeah. I feel like they both have their audiences, and I guess you couldn't do a book to promote a webcomic, but you could make a mini comic with a QR code and send people to the webcomic. Mm-hmm. But I feel like webcomics almost always lead to print these days, especially with like the way that Webtoons operates.
That's true.
Or is operating now.
Because I do have quite a few books that were webcomics.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know that I have a preference. I feel like they're two parts of the same thing. I feel like comics are comics.
That's true. No, I was just curious because I guess because I'm from a different generation. Like I said, I don't read a ton of webcomics, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I'm against them. It's just not it's just a different way of looking for things, right?
Oh, no,
And it's not
absolutely.
something I don't always head to is the internet, but I'm always like in used bookstores and comic book stores.
Yeah, and I do think that there's a little bit of a generational divide, right? Because you are a scotch older than I am. But like when I went to CCS, that was the thing. Like Cassette and Lutz like had nobody, not even just the guys, but like none of the adults had any idea about the webcomic industry, to the point that they asked Sophie Goldstein and I to host a workshop for the other students about webcomics and how to do webcomics and use them to promote your work. And so I think having grown up on both web and print comics, it's a little hard for me to differentiate, especially now that the webcomics market is its own ecosystem. Now that you have things like Tapas and Webtoons.
Oh, like it's completely legitimate. Like I'm constantly seeing articles about them and stuff. Like it's on me that I don't find them.
I have to interrupt you, girls.
Sure.
Or I have to interrupt you people. I have to interrupt you people because we have to figure out what panel 3 is.
Oh yes.
Yes. And sorry about that, Rachel.
No, not at all. I'm just rambling to say I don't know. I feel like they're the same thing.
No. I meant I didn't mean to misgender you. I apologize about that. But there's okay. So what's panel 3? What is panel 3? So is the Venom completely off in panel 2?
Pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. So, are we going to follow the Venom? Are we following Philo? Are we looking at Ar-Mon? Does Ar-Mon feel any remorse?
I feel like we should head to Ar-Mon because something pretty like traumatically violent just happened to his body.
So, Ar-Mon assesses what happened. What just happened to him? Is that the panel?
Well, you know how octopus can grow back their limbs and stuff? Maybe he's starting to grow back his skin as he recovers from the trauma. From the shell that he was.
Well, okay.
Hey, we haven't actually asked the audience at all for any ideas. We could ask them.
The audience hasn't really. They've been speaking French to us. We have Tangent saying hi. Pierre says that they are KDP all the way. Didn't enjoy working with publisher, and I have always kind of worked on my own. I haven't had much experience working with publisher, aside from ink this and letter this and stuff like that, which isn't as creative. I haven't really had a lot of people where it's like, write this for me, and then they go, no, it sucks, change it. I haven't had that experience. So
no editors. Yeah.
What I will say is that working with publishers is not that much different from working on your own. There are certain things that outside of like when you're first starting out, you think, oh, a publisher will do this, a publisher will do that. Like marketing, getting your book in the stores. They do get your book in the stores, but marketing, hosting events, that sort of stuff. You kind of expect a publisher to do that for you, and it doesn't really happen that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why I don't really see a difference. It's like they're putting the money behind the printing and the initial marketing of the book, and they're getting it into stores. But I grew up at a time where you could still do that yourself. And so maybe that's not true anymore, but there was a time period where I was creating anthologies that you could just send out samples to stores and email stores and get the book there yourself, just as easily as working with publishers is today. But for both of my own ebooks, I did the press releases and the book tours and the release party and all of that sort of stuff myself. And I have friends who are going through that now with even Scholastic. So I personally don't see much of a difference.
Yeah.
It's good to be well-rounded. But it's hard sometimes. Like, I know a lot of cartoonists my age can be difficult to have to get involved in that kind of hustle. Because I don't think we ever really did. Like, a lot of us would go to comic conventions and stuff, but it's just the whole internet web page, being on top of that, mailing stuff out constantly. A lot of us kind of just wish we didn't have to do it. And that was the goal.
That's the hope when you work with a publisher, right? Is you hope that the publisher is going to do that stuff for you. And I have not yet found that to be the case.
I have an idea.
Sure.
For the comic. Our shroom guy is a swamp thing. Maybe he can heal Armand?
Would he imbue him with florals and greenery? Or would it give him his octopus skin back?
Armand assesses his life as mushroom heals him. I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
I think it'd be cool if Armand grew, like, greenery.
You think that he should be part of the green?
Or maybe like an underwater green, like a coral reef?
Ooh, an underwater green. Has there ever been a Swamp Thing story where he's gone underwater?
I don't think so, and there should have been, because he's always like lurching through bayou and swamps and stuff, hence the name. So he's obviously comfortable being in waterish.
Brackish water is half salty, and it is swamps that brackish water existed. So, like, if Swamp Thing is like living in like Mississippi area, like in the Delta, like he'd be swimming over some ocean land.
Yeah, some murky rushes.
Yeah. I think that we would have some. Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. You would have thought they would have come to that conclusion. Some story ideas. But I haven't read Swamp Thing in a long time, so I don't know.
Our mutual friend Kane, Rachel, is a huge Aquaman fan.
Yes.
Huge Aquaman fan. I cannot stand that character.
I just have, like, you know, neutrality, like mild disinterest. It's not Aquaman specific. It's maybe I just never got into superheroes.
Growing up, superheroes were the comics that I was introduced to. And so I didn't have like a lot of other comics to like read. I had DuckTales, or I had Duck comics. I had like Donald Duck and Scrooge and stuff. But I didn't really have exposure to a lot of stuff because where we were at, the stores didn't stock that. And you know, it was like really college and conventions and stuff that like introduced me to the rest of the world of comics.
Yeah.
And and so I do have a soft spot in my heart for superheroes. But like if Aquaman were real, he'd be really powerful to actually like communicate with sea creatures and to know what was going on and to hear all their like troubles and everything like that. But in the comics, they just don't. He's kind of pathetic. They don't write him well.
That's too bad.
And it's not Aquaman's fault.
Yeah.
And Ramona Fradon did amazing art on Aquaman. But it was always like these stupid stories where it was like, you know, Aquaman has to like talk to fish to find out where the like president's submarine sank because the president was in a submarine for some reason.
Did you guys ever read the Bizarro comics? It was like when all the alternative cartoonists got together and did DC characters, but it was like It started because Kyle Baker did a comic where Superman was put in a microwave. Super Baby was put in a microwave, and it got censored. So they're like, they want to put it in somewhere. It was Kyle Baker. Anyways, Danny Hellman did an Aquaman story that was hilarious, where he was like at a New York club and he wanted to sing, but nobody would let him, and like everyone was all fawning over Batman, and Aquaman was just like kind of sobbing quietly in the corner. It was awesome. And then like Dave Cooper did Wonder Woman shopping for a bathing suit. They're all really odd. Like Evan Dorkin wrote a bunch of them, and it's got, you know, the Hernandez brothers, and like I think even Daniel Clowes is in there. It's just a bunch of like alternative artists doing DC superheroes. It's really odd. And
I remember that happening. I never did read it.
It sounds like something that I would get in an anthology. I wonder if they ever put it in an anthology.
Yeah, they did. All of them. They're called Bizarro Comics. There's 2 books.
All right, I'll have to check them out.
But yeah, like that whole Kyle Baker story with the baby Superman in a microwave, they had to like destroy the comics. And it was such like a big deal when it happened. Everyone was freaking out. But the story eventually saw the light of day. And the people that could handle it, handled it.
Mm-hmm.
They were just so afraid people would start putting babies in the microwave.
That's hilarious.
Oh no. Kyle Baker has that much influence over people, you know?
Well, it is Kyle Baker.
It is Kyle Baker.
Okay, I'll have him using his Swamp Thing powers. What does Swamp Thing powers look like? Are they like visual?
I remember seeing like blue wavy lines. I don't know if it emanated off his body. I'm not like, it's been a long time since I've read Swamp Thing. I know he can grow things, right? Like that's an obvious one. He like has things grow his body.
I should sit down and just read Swamp Thing comics.
I should too, you know, because that's Alan Moore and he ain't so bad.
Alan Moore has always been upfront with his strangeness, and I respect that.
Yep. And he's very literary, which I also really respect.
Well, you know, you know, pedophiles and stuff, you know, they always try and hide their strangeness, and then you find out that the strangeness is something like pedophilia, and you're like, ugh, right? And it's like people who are upfront with their strangeness, and they're like, this is why I'm strange, and look at me, and I'm strange. Like, they don't hide anything, right? They're just strange people, and you go, you know what? I'm cool with you. You know exactly who you are, and you're not doing anything weird aside from being weird. And I'm cool with that. That's fine. Be weird. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not like causing issue with people, you know, as long as you're not like forcing people out on the street. I just always respected Alan Moore for his strangeness.
Okay, I think I'm done with this.
Nice.
Okay, so you are done with that
Will
one.
will you sneak any cats into your panel?
Any what?
Cats?
One more time.
She wants to know if you're going to sneak any cats into your panel.
I can't.
We are all cat lovers here.
Give me one moment.
In fact, didn't you just get a new cat, Amber? Didn't a new one show up on your doorstep?
There's a whole story now about the cat. The cat, when we found the cat on our doorstep, cat was there from 3rd floor doorstep. Their cat. Cat was in our window, just looking out, being a cute kitten. They were on their way to church on Sunday. They see the cat in the window. They knock on our door. They don't speak a lick of English. I don't speak very good Spanish. But I know enough, like, got those cats. I know a key is here, and stuff like that. And so they pull up Google Translate on their phone and they're like, hey, it's our cat. And I'm like, well, we found the cat here like 2 weeks ago. They're like, yeah, that's when we lost it. And it's like, here, have your cat. And so Annabelle wants a new cat, and her friend's mom, one of her clients, happens to have kittens. And so we are getting a new cat on Thursday.
How many do you have now?
We're back down to 4, but then we're going up to 5 again. Because we gave the cat back to the people who it was their cat on the doorstep.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's their cat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take somebody else's cat.
Understood. I got all that. I understood that.
And
I'm just like shocked by how many cats there are. I'm wrestling with a second cat. I'm like, should I get a second cat for my dad?
Yeah.
It's a tough decision because it's expensive.
Yeah. We were cool with just the 4 cats, but when you give a little girl a baby cat and then you take away a little girl's baby cat, the little girl wishes to continue the baby cat owning of
baby cats grow up. She's got to learn something.
I know, but she.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
But she wants her baby cat.
Yeah. Don't we all just melt?
Yeah, and so
we all want the kittens.
The kitten that we're getting is a male. He's a little stripy cat. He's gonna have the same name as the previous cat, which is Creeper. So this is, Ian and I are joking that this is Creeper 2.0, but that is what Annabelle wanted to name him. And so it's like, okay, if that's what you want to name your cat, that's what we're naming the cat. And so we are trying to teach her responsibility. This is her cat. And yeah.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Good. Teach compassion, responsibility, cleanliness. It's hard in the future. Rachel, you have 2 cats?
I currently only have 1 cat. That's Willow. She is 7 years old, and she is more like a puppy and a seal combined than a cat. Yeah, she's my puppy cat.
So she likes to swim?
When she was little, she used to get in the bathtub with me if I were to take a bath. But now that she's bigger, her interest has waned a little bit. She does still go in the shower after I've been in the shower.
Does she like the tub? I had a cat that did that.
Yeah, she does enjoy a good bath water, like the shower water. But yeah, she's mostly just like all about cuddling and eating food. It's kind of those are her 2 favorite things.
It sounds a lot like a dog.
Yeah, she's very dog.
Awesome. And then you said that you and your spouse have also been together for 20 years.
21 years, yeah.
21
Congratulations.
years.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
How did you guys meet?
High school.
Oh, wow. You guys have evolved a lot.
Yeah, we've been around for a long time.
Yeah. Like, did you guys hang out in the same circles?
Yeah, we did. There was, I'm messing up all my groups, all my folders in here. Yeah, no, we met in high school. Mike would obligate me to tell you that we met around 9/11. We just sort of would cross each other's paths in the hallway all the time in the morning. As it turned out, the way that we both entered our school, and then their class was over there and my class was over there, so we ran into each other all the time. My version of how we met is me turning around and going, hey, wait a minute, what's your name? I see you every day. And Mike's version of how we met was them approaching me at lunch one day because I was wearing a Weezer t-shirt and had a Lenore lunchbox. And so then they were like, oh, those are things I'm interested in. I will go talk to this person. But as it turned out, we just ended up hanging out together every day, and we had a ton of mutual friends. And so all of our mutual friends would get together at lunch and hang out because we were all misfits and we couldn't make friends with people who were not neurodivergent. So, you know, we all had, I can't even say that we all had similar interests. Mike and I both enjoyed comics and music. Other people enjoyed music. I enjoyed certain movies that other people in the group enjoyed. Somebody else liked webcomics, which, you know, a handful of us read. Like, there was a lot of different things crossing over. And there was probably, of that group of probably 12 or 15 of us, there was always, you know, different groups of two to five that would hang out and do different things together. Yeah, so we just sort of grew up in this large group, like this large interconnected web of smaller groups doing things together as we all grew older.
Aw. And you just...
Where was this when you were in high school?
I was in San Diego.
Oh, okay, cool.
Can't believe we never hung out.
What part of San Diego were you in?
I grew up north of Temecula.
Okay.
I grew up in a tiny little town called Wildomar.
Oh, I know where that is. Yeah.
Very few people do. And the
go up
fact
and
that you do,
Yeah.
like, I can't believe we never hung out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I was up there all the time or anything, but I would occasionally go up there for, what's it called? Gourd painting?
Yeah.
Yeah. My grandmother and I used to go up and do stuff like that together.
Yeah, I'll do that. That looks kind of energy-y.
Ooh, cool. It's like a sparkly Kirby crackle.
There we go. Okay. Are you done with panel 2?
I'm done. I'm just adding things now because I can.
Oh, okay. Yes, because if you were done, we could have moved you to panel 4 anytime.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm literally gonna do one more thing and then I'm done.
Because I think I'm ready for panel 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Here, I'll add some Kirby Crackle. That's what I'll do. I'll add some Kirby Crackle.
Yeah, I could finesse this a little bit more, but I mean, most of it's done. I could finesse this off screen.
Oh no. Let's move on. Okay. Perfect is the enemy of done. So you are on panel 4. I'm on panel 5.
Okay.
And so what is going on in panel 4? This is what happened in panel 5. Is we have Ar-Mon. Here, let me turn off panel 5. Ar-Mon assesses his life as Mushroom heals him, and so
yes,
that's why he looks like a octopus again. Is because he's healed.
The mushroom swamp mouth.
Yes. Well, Mushroom, you know, he looks like a swamp thing, and
yeah.
So I'm trying to give him the little swamp thing mouth. We still have the mycelium infected with venoms.
Oh, we should be checking with them.
We still have
Dog.
We still have Dog, who's a bone dog. Now that the venom is off, are we going to have a venom bone dog? Like, haha, you know, from off screen, and then everyone looks.
I don't think enough people have been venomized, though.
Okay.
I don't know. Or maybe venom should be trapped in a jar next to all of them.
we could do that. But then they're carrying around jars.
No, they can leave them places. They don't have to take them with them.
Okay. Okay, so Philo. Does Philo accept Ar-Mon-Da? We have leave the dog alone, says Rob.
Don't you dare touch a dog.
Yeah. So does Philo accept Ar-Mon-Da back? Is he like, I don't care that you were a Venom. I was a Venom too.
I like that.
Rob, help us here. Come on, chat.
Tangent. Usually you're so much more vocal about what happens around here.
Let's see. Put Venom in the jar with Olive. So we're just gonna join. Okay. That's what my panel will be. Is Venom goes in the jar with olive oil. Yes. Okay. Venom goes in the jar with olive oil. So
How
that's what I'm gonna
jarring.
do. Okay. And then what do we have? Oh no, that would be Rachel's panel. Is Venom goes in the jar with olive oil.
Okay.
So you can draw that however you want. There's an olive oil head in the jar. Venom goes to charm school. And then Venom goes to charm school. And then he goes to charm school. Okay, and then he goes to charm school. Which might be the end of the Venom storyline. Because if he's shoved into the jar with olive oil and then he goes to charm school, I think he would take the jar with him. Which means that's probably olive oil leaving the strip.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were only guests.
Yeah, so I'm thinking...
Possible. Venom goes to charm school and Peter Parker is his teacher.
You think Peter Parker should be his teacher
Why
at
not?
charm school?
I mean, it's the end of Venom, right? So that could be like the last gag before we never see Venom again.
Before we never see Venom again. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do is have the classroom Well, we have had the J. Jonah Jameson show up in the strip before.
So you want the teacher to be J. Jonah Jameson?
And really, it shouldn't be Peter Parker. It should be Spider Whale Shark. Really, no.
You're absolutely correct, Spider Whale Shark.
Yes.
3 cheers for Spider Whale Shark.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Because if I'm wrong, let me know. I'll
Anybody but Spider Whale Shark. I feel like we should have a Spider Whale Shark theme song. Spider Whale Shark.
Daddy Welfare?
Oh, you like my window? Oh, thank you. Here, let me put
perspective.
Yeah, let me put Rachel up. Rachel's a better artist than I am.
No, that's not true.
I don't know. You're the one with like more publishing credits and stuff than me. So, like, I don't know.
What was one of your favorite things to work on, Rachel?
I mean,
Not your absolute favorite, just one of your favorites.
Oh, I mean, I loved working on Frankie Comics and The Wizard. The Wizard
Why
was
is it spelled wizard?
Wait, why is it spelled that way?
Yeah.
Because Michael thought it would be funny.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe we could like a special species of wizard.
No. No, nothing as difficult as that.
Okay. Sure. But they're two very different comics because one is an autobiographical comic and one is like a fantasy comic for young adults. Wouldn't you say?
It's young readers middle grade, but they both are. It's just only The Wizard was marketed as such because in Frankie Comics, because Mike and I are young adults. Even though the content is all ages and the primary readership for that is actually young readers middle grade, but because Michael and I, Mike and I are young adults in it, they felt obligated to market it to teen and young adults and refused to change the bisex on it.
Oh, to me, young adults are preteens. I should probably quantify that.
Yeah,
because technically a young adult would be like a 20-year-old.
And then 9 to 12 is middle grade, and anything prior to that is young readers.
Okay, so yeah, I would imagine that Wizards is for like middle grade, and then Frankie is for like just teenagers and up.
And that's how they marketed it. That's how they felt. But the primary readership for that is young readers. The majority of the readers for that are that I see at conventions throughout the year are probably between 5 and 9.
Oh wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
and too, because I meet a lot of kids that don't like to read.
Yeah, I would say Frankie Comics readership is probably the same as Raina Telgemeier. We at A2CAF in the spring in Ann Arbor, there was a queue for a signing for Raina, and every single one of those kids, while waiting in line for Raina, came up to my table and started reading Frankie Comics.
Right.
So it's pretty interesting.
It's a good crossover.
Pick up and are drawn to.
That means librarians are doing their job.
Oh yeah, librarians are amazing. Specifically, the library that A2CAF is hosted at. Those folks are wonderful. It's a really, I love librarians and libraries. I wouldn't be able to read comics without them.
Yeah, that is a pretty sweet thing. I mean, I fell in love with the library in Montreal. They have their own like city library, the public library there, because obviously every little borough has its own little public library. But the main one downtown it's so impressive because their manga section was huge, their English comic section was huge, but their French comic section was the size of like a classroom. Like it was giant. And every page to almost every comic, I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. I can't be reading this stuff. Because I made a rule, it's like, I can't buy everything, right? So my rule was like, if I didn't understand the language it was in, I'm not going to buy it, because then I'd be buying everything in the whole entire world. But then I started learning French. Well, then I started learning French, and then that kind of went out the window.
Well, that's the fun thing, though. Like, that's the mark of a good comic, is if you can understand what's going on, even if you can't read the language, then it's a good comic.
Mm-hmm.
Black Sad.
Yeah, but that has a lot of language, and it is translated by Diana Shutt.
Yeah, but
I would say more like the comics of Jason, where it's they're mostly silent, a lot of them. And he's, I
Owly.
believe, from the Netherlands. Owly? No, well, he's not a different language, though. He's just silent. He's American. Andy Rutten is here?
But because it's all pictograms and there's no words in it, it's universal.
That's true.
Hi! Hello,
Who's the
how are
Black
you
Hawk?
doing, the Black Hawk? We're doing good.
Are you working on anything else? Not else, but anything new these days, Rachel?
I do. Have you heard of the Hullabaloo comic magazine? It's an upcoming magazine for kids, full of comics.
Tell me more.
It's going to be launching on Kickstarter in September, but they're doing marketing for it now. It has, I think, 15 different comic artists, maybe more.
Wow.
2 of those comic artists are Michael Sweater and I, and we're working on a comic called The Secret Life of Shapes.
Shapes, like triangles and circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And
Cool.
so the misadventures of a bunch of different shape characters.
That sounds
Nice.
excellent.
What's
I
the
also
ages?
just finished a comic for a web series called In Science We Trust, which is on TinyView. I drew but did not write or edit a comic about the history of the light bulb for that. And I'm working on a new comic for them about the history of and creation of the internal combustion engine.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love educational comics. There's a guy down in Canada called Jim Ottaviani, and he's done a lot of stuff about my favorite book he's done is called Dignifying Science, which is about like the female scientists, and he did a whole like anthology of comics about them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever saw it. It's got like Phyllis Speed McNeil did the story of Hedy Lamarr, and then who else? There's a story about Beirut Gildikas, and she's like the woman that studied orangutan. And there's just like all these like really interesting stories. That's when I learned about the woman that discovered the DNA helix. I want to say her name is like Rosamund something, but you know the 2 men gave her no credit, and then they won the Pulitzer Prize for it. And then she was the one that actually did all the work. It opened my mind so much. Like you don't talk about that stuff in high school in the 90s, right? So I'm glad that he does this kind of comics. And he's done a bunch of science stuff, so it's interesting. Educational comics, I think, are great.
Yeah, Crick, and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name.
Yeah, Crick, that's right.
But
God, my brain, it's full of so much stuff, and I'm losing things. Like, I cannot believe I was talking to someone yesterday about War of the Worlds, and they were like, it's based on a book. And I'm like, no, it was just that radio play. And it was like 5 minutes later after the person had left. And I'm like, you idiot. It's by H.G. Wells. You know this. Like, why are you so dumb?
I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to hold it against you.
I'm blaming menopause. That's what I'm blaming.
Let's see. I'll just do that, and then we'll draw in.
Watson says Rob. Rob got it. By Jove, Rob got it. It's Watson and Chris.
Yeah.
The Black Hawk says that he is doing well, and he has had to go back to school because he has a high schooler and an 8th grader, and he wants to know how you're doing, Amber.
I'm okay. Ian and I got some interesting news, and we're living with that, but that's okay. And then I'm working on this, and then I have that thing on Thursday that's kind of big, but it's nothing that like I can talk about on air. And it's like, it's just I got a lot going on. I got a lot of irons in the fire right now.
That can be harrowing and exciting at the same time.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do this, and then that kind of looks a little bit like a classroom. Almost like a classroom.
I finished my reread of one of my favorite science fiction novels.
Oh, which one's that?
It's called The Gate to Women's Country by Sherry S. Pepper.
Tell me about it.
It's very good. I don't know. Well, I guess I don't want to give it away. So,
Well,
it's just about
the premise?
It's about a future society that has had to go back, like, to a dark age, and it's separated by a warrior class and a class of women with their servitors who are men that are considered weaklings because they refuse to be part of the warrior class, and it's just how they live. And I don't want to give anything away, but it's basically a treatise on nature versus nurture and men and violence.
Have you ever read the science fiction book Arslan?
No, I feel like I've seen that though.
It's
like the cover.
It's an interesting book. It was recommended to me by a dude that was trying to hit on me in a bookstore. and you know, we were in the science fiction section, and he's like, you gotta read this book. And he picked it up and he wrote his name in the book and his number in the book. And years and years later, definitely lots of ideas on cartoons and movies and stuff, but they take time. But yeah, anyway, years later, I was going through stuff and I found the book, and I was like, okay, I'll sit down and read it. And it was a really good book. And I called him up, and he had already been married with kids at that point. You know, and I was like, okay.
So many years.
You know, well, yeah, I mean, I can't be mad at him. You know, it's like, you know, I was the one who dragged my feet. But I was like, yeah, I finished the book. I finally finished the book. And, you know, I was calling to say it was good. And he's like, yeah, it was good. You know, and it's like, oh, I want to see if you want to go on a date. He's like, oh, I don't think my wife would like that. Like, damn. And then that was before I ever went to college. But the book itself is interesting. It's about a guy that takes over the world. It's about this. What if the supervillain does it? What if he takes over the world? And then it's all the fallout from that. And it's interesting. It's just an interesting book. But,
written by Ursula Le Guin.
Yeah.
She's an interesting writer.
Let's see. Let me try and do this.
Hey, Amber, the Black Hawk wants to know, did you ever want to make a cartoon or a movie, or did you ever have ideas that you never moved forward on?
Yeah, I have plenty of ideas I never moved forward on. I have plenty of movie ideas that I never made. Captain T was originally supposed to be an animation, but animation takes so freaking long to do. And I am but one person, and I do not have the funding to hire other people to do it. So
there's only so much time in a day, right?
Yeah. So it's like, well, I guess I'm going to make a comic then. And yeah, and I mean, I have ideas like one of my comic ideas that I want to do someday is Chrono Shift. But I know that's a story that's literally going to take me like 12 years to finish, right? And it's going to be such highly technical art for all of the time machines, and then all the research I have to do for like all of the time periods to try and draw like period accurate carts and like pottery and stuff. Like I want to work on that story, but it's going to take me forever to do it. And so I'm not there yet. I'm working on other stuff in the meantime. I think I'm done with this panel. And Venom goes to charm school. And so he's got the little head there. He's got the little head there. And yeah, so what happens? I think that's the end of Venom's story.
Mm-hmm.
I think we cut back to Philo and Ar-Mon and the dog. The dog still bones. And our little mushroom guy. And the mycelium is still infected with venom. Like, though the mycelium venom is still there, and they're, to my knowledge, they're still singing. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what happens after.
Is it like a siren song? Maybe it starts to like penetrate Philo the dog and Ar-Mon, make them do stuff. Is our mushroom friend still the leader of all of them?
Well, he just kind of tapped into the mycelium, and then the mycelium led him to the saloon. And then they got infected by the olive oil head through the bartender. The mushroom
So
bartender.
I would think then the mycelium is kind of pissed at the mushroom.
For bringing all this trouble to them.
And havoc, yeah.
But they're all venomed out. Like,
True.
how are they gonna get devenomized? Is that something? Well, are we gonna have? Wait. Are we gonna have like Philo with his gun just spinning around in circles, devenomizing the mycelium?
No, I think if the mushroom connects himself to the mycelium and they devenomize him, or does he have it?
He doesn't have any venom.
So that's it. So he just joins the mycelium and he cleanses everything.
Okay, so we're gonna have in panel 7, we're gonna have
the mushroom cleanses the mycelium.
Okay. Okay, so I'll call it the mycelium network to keep things kind of consistent. The mycelium network. Mycelium.
Pierre says he loves it.
Thank you, Pierre. Let's see. How are you going to have the mushroom cleanse the network? How are you going to do this? I'm gonna look up Swamp Thing stuff as reference.
When you guys went to your art schools, did you get a chance to work in other mediums? Did you was there anything you enjoyed doing?
I didn't have that opportunity at CCS or in undergrad, not really.
I went to junior college before I went to MCAD, and so it was like, this is charcoal drawing, this is pencil drawing, this is we're learning acrylic painting now and stuff. So I took a lot of skills into my comic program that a lot of the other kids didn't have. And we
also know that you really love doing puppetry, and that's a whole wonderful, beautiful art form.
Yeah, and that was also a skill that I brought into school later. I had worked at the oh, interesting, that's Ryan Kelly. He was one of my teachers at MCAT. Anyway, sorry, I just one of the reference pictures that I found of Swamp Thing. But I had started puppetry at O Entertainment, working on the Thumb movies. And so that was like my first foray into puppetry. That wasn't like just me playing with my puppets at home.
So Pierre wants everyone to know that the Swamp Thing makes you feel bad about climate change, and then it makes you rethink your life. He wants you to know that 2 times squared.
Yes, because it's very important.
I thought the Swamp Thing only made you think about plants having sex with ladies with white hair. Or getting censored for visiting Jesus.
Getting censored for what?
Oh, there was an infamous issue that Alan Moore did where the Swamp Thing actually went back in time and was there when Jesus was crucified. But DC wouldn't let them publish it.
Of course. Why not?
Because of religion. Don't you remember in those days they were all crazy about that stuff? I was telling some kid at work when they were playing Like a Prayer, because we all know it from the Deadpool movie. I was like, oh my god, when this video came out, Madonna lost her contract with Pepsi. Yeah. She lost all this stuff, all because she had a black Jesus in the video, and she lost his seat. Like, everyone lost their mind. Now no one would bat an eye at it. The Black Hulk says Transylvania TV. I thought your skills came from that era.
No. I started out at O Entertainment doing puppets, and then from there, my second troupe I was with was actually Paratroop Productions, which is Melonpool, and that's Steve Troop and his group, and then after that was TV. And so I've also done other puppets from here and there, like 13-4 Haunted House. I did a werewolf puppet and stuff.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I would like to read this for Pierre. He says Jesus was crucified on Swamp Thing, or in the Swamp Thing comic is what we're talking about. In 1989, Rick Veitch had a great storyline about Swamp Thing traveling through time and meeting various historical DC characters, and it was nearing its conclusion. In issue 87, it ended with Swamp Thing in King Arthur's court with Camelot. Encountering the mysterious chunk of amber, this time hidden inside the Holy Grail, and in the preceding issues, it made Swamp Thing go launch further back in time. So how did the amber get in the Grail? Anyways, the publisher had approved Rick Veitch's story for the next issue, which was a story involving Jesus. At the last moment, the powers that be refused to print it. They were scared of creating controversy given the uproar of the recent film, The Last Temptation of Christ. And as DC Comics had an incredible investment in the soon-to-be released Batman motion picture, they censored it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It made Rick Veitch quit DC Comics, vowing to never work for them again. And it put Swamp Thing on hold for 2 months. Oh, wow. So Jamie Delano, who was doing Hellblazer, and Neil Gaiman had been slated to take over as alternating writers after Veitch was left, but they declined out of support for Rick Veitch. Oh, that sucks. On Rick Veitch's website, they're reprinting Swamp Thing in trade paperback format, and this was way back in 2004, but Rick was like, please publish issue 88. I'll fix anything you deem too offensive. Just let me finish my story. But they never responded. That's pretty interesting. Well, that's DC. I mean, it's their prerogative to meddle, right?
It's interesting because we were talking about like the Bizarro books earlier, right?
Yeah.
They'll do something experiment like that in one breath, and then in the next breath, they don't even want a chance of Jesus appearing in a Swamp Thing comic.
Yeah, but it's different time period, right? Like those Bizarro comics were early aughts, whereas the Swamp Thing was late 80s.
Yeah, different eras, different editorial staff, different results.
Here says he enjoyed Roaring Rick's rare bit scenes, and I loved the Brat Camp, which was his take on superheroes, and it was extremely dark and pretty gross, but also weirdly hilarious. Rick Veitch is a pretty cool guy. I really like his comics. He's done some interesting stuff. Yeah, like the Roaring Rick's rare bit scenes is pretty neat too. But he's like on the same level as Steve Bissett. You were talking about him earlier. I guess he was one of your teachers, Rachel.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy. He doesn't pull any punches when he talks about the comic industry. I
love that. No, I was just talking with somebody recently about one of the first things that Steve Bissett ever told us in class was if you wanted to make a living in comics, you should marry rich.
Yeah.
And I wish that was something that was more publicly discussed within the industry, is that like the financial security really isn't there unless you're maybe working fast and constantly, but even then, like, you're still eking by. You might as well be flipping burgers.
I get nasty looks for saying that every successful artist that I've ever met, most of them have a spouse that supports them.
Exactly.
And like in your case, you're supporting yourself, and you and your spouse like support each other, and it's like I'd say it's about 50-50. But in the beginning, it wasn't that way, I don't think.
No, in the beginning, we were running a custom lapel pin business.
Yeah.
And that's what financed everything, was this other business that we were running together.
Yeah.
And that was until I went to grad school. Like for a decade, making buttons and screen printing t-shirts ourselves was what financed our ability to publish comics. The comics were never self-sustaining.
Yeah.
And in 2013, until I got really, really sick in like 2020, I was able to pay my half of all of our bills, but it's because I was working constantly and, between 4 or 5 different publishers. Mm-hmm. I was creating work for Abrams and Boom and the Nib and my own work.
And Oni.
I wasn't working for Oni yet.
Oh, okay.
But I was working for all of those places simultaneously, and the Nib was a huge part of that, of my income. And so when the Nib folded, I, alongside a great many other artists, were sort of left going, oh my God, what do I do? How do I fill that gap?
That's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not everybody can do that. Like, I'm fortunate in that way that, our life is pretty simple. Like it is just the two of us and the cats. If we had kids, there's no way I could put the hours in that are necessary to make a full-time living at this.
Well, I know this guy from way back when I was in Vancouver. His name's Ed Brisson, and he started out in alternative and doing his own comics independently, and even had his own publishing company briefly there for a while. But he's always wanted to write his own comics for the big guys like Dark Horse and Marvel and stuff. And now he's at the point where he is writing for DC and Marvel, and he's writing some of the pretty big name titles. We all used to live in Vancouver. At one point, I believe he moved to Kelowna, and he couldn't find a house there that they could buy and afford. So then they had to move out all the way to Halifax, way in the middle of nowhere. And luckily, because of that kind of job, you can do it from anywhere. It's not a problem. But that's the only way they could afford to raise a kid, have a house, and live a normal life.
That's exactly right. Michael Sweater lives in Arkansas, and that's why Michael Sweater lives in Arkansas, or at least part of it is because that's where you can afford to live, is the boonies in Arkansas. The fact that we live in a rent-controlled apartment in Los Angeles is a big part of why we're able to continue to afford to live there. I'm splitting my time between there and Arizona to help with family care. But if our rent had gone up every year since we lived there, we could not afford to continue to live there. In fact, we cannot afford to move out of that apartment because we cannot afford.
Yeah, any new rent would be through the roof. Yeah.
At least not in California. If we moved out of state, we may be good. But you know, our margins, our income versus bills and stuff every month is razor thin every month, even though we're working constantly. You roll out of bed and you work until you go to sleep, and then you barely pay your bills.
Yeah, it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
I feel a lot like the old man shaking fist at the sky, because like as a 20-year-old in my 20s and then late 90s and early aughts, like I could afford to do everything on minimum wage and pay rent and have a monthly bus pass and eat. You know, like it's crazy. And buy comics, you know, and go to the odd comic convention if I wanted to.
All of that having been said, like this is still the only thing I ever want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing else I would rather be doing.
And you have an audience for it, you know. It's not like you're shouting out of a void. I'm sure you have a lot of fans. You know, one thing I also noticed is you hustle like crazy. You're almost at every convention. It seems like in North America.
Yeah, I do a lot of conventions, and I don't do nearly as many as I used to do. I used to do probably 20 conventions a year, maybe more, because even right now I'm probably still doing at least 10. I've got 5 in October.
Oh my God.
You said that you wanted to talk about how you got sick too.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's part of it is this, you know, the industry doesn't really leave space for, you know, those of us who are chronically ill. You know, it takes me a lot longer to create a thing than it used to. Also, Amber, you might want to switch over to your monitor or give me a new panel.
Actually, we're at time.
Okay.
And so you don't have to worry about drawing anymore. Okay. I'm just finishing up this panel.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I started being symptomatic in like 2014, but I was diagnosed with Sjogren's in 2016, which is a lot like lupus, where I go through long periods of chronic fatigue. And there are things I can do to manage it, but there are still times where I will be unable to get out of bed for several days. And the way that this industry works is, you know, you create a graphic novel in 6 to 12 months, and if you know you don't have an agent representing you and you miss that deadline, your book is canceled, and there's not really any safety net for that situation. And so for someone like me that, you know, right now I'm in a position where I can constantly work, but from 2020 to almost 2025 to at least 2023, 2024, like I was unable to work. And you know, what do you do in that situation? How do you pay your bills, you know, and avoid going on disability, you know? Fortunately, my
and the political climate doesn't make it any easier for you either right now.
Everything's in flux, you know.
Yeah,
it's an interesting time. Everything is interesting, and the best that we can do is keep creating art and hope that it has its audience.
And with that, you're 5 minutes over time. I finished the mushroom cleanses, the mycelium network. You got your venom in a jar there.
And we got to give a shout out to Pierre because he made a funny joke. When we were talking about breadwinners, he wrote, "My wife wins lots of bread."
Your wife wins lots of bread? Okay. So.
He's got a breadwinner.
Yes, excellent. All right, so we got that. And wife wins lots of bread. So good for Pierre. Thank you very much, Miss Robin. Thank you very much, Rachel. I'm sorry, I had food poisoning a couple days ago, and my stomach's doing flips on me right now. Like for the last 15 minutes. It's been
No,
doing
go
this on
take
me.
care of yourself.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
and so
We've done it.
I'm trying to power through. Let me do this. This has been produced by me. Panelpanel.com, CaptainT.keenspot.com. Check it out. Patreon if you want to support me. Twitch, you should be watching this on. YouTube, you should be watching this on. If you guys want to check this out again, we'll be back again next week. I'll see you guys at the earlier time, which is 7 Eastern Standard Time, 4 Pacific Standard Time. We'll see you then.